Eu fui diagnosticada com diabetes tipo 1 aos 13 anos de idade, em 1993. E levou muito tempo para eu aceitar o meu diagnóstico e entender a importância da insulina na minha vida. Eu acho que isso acontece com muitas pessoas, não é só comigo. Estar aqui na Benting House, no Museu da Insulina, onde o Dr. Benting, descobridor da insulina, viveu e teve a ideia da insulina é extremamente emocionante. E lembrar que a gente só tem um presente e um futuro porque a gente teve um passado. E esse passado ele é cheio de história e é isso que você vai saber mais nesse documentário. Que a gente possa viver a melhor vida possível, com alegria, com leveza, com insulina sempre. É isso.
This is the birthplace of insulin and home to a national hero, Sir Frederick Banting. For the diabetes community, this has become a site of pilgrimage, a site of hope. Since 1923, we've been known as the birthplace of insulin, and that legacy continues today through the Flame of Hope, which burns out front of the museum. This flame stays lit until a cure for diabetes is found, and we'll be so excited to welcome that research team that finds that cure to extinguish that flame with the words, "A cure has been found." We have our first recording of the diabetes condition in 1552 BCE in ancient Egypt, on an ancient Egypt papyrus. 3,600 years later, after reading 5 or 6 articles, Banting awakes from this restless sleep, puts to paper 25 words, and those 25 words give us the discovery of insulin 10 months later, after only about 12 weeks experiments. And we go from idea to Nobel Prize and availability of insulin in 3 years.
And saving millions and millions of lives, right?
Millions and millions of lives that continue to this day, and it all started here.
I'm Jessica Ching, and I'm a community organizer, activist, and speaker. I also work in the field of commercializing medical technologies, and I've had diabetes now for 44 years. The first struggle that I had to overcome was inside myself, and that was acceptance of the disease. I think it's pretty common, especially since I was diagnosed as a young teenager. But once I realized that I could set my own goals, I could set my own way, I could make all of my own choices in how and when and where of diabetes and everything else, then I actually was able to come out and come forward and be healthy and live my life to its fullest.
40 anos que a gente convive com uma filha diabética e foi muito difícil no começo. Hoje a coisa está bem mais fácil, mas há 40 anos atrás a gente não tinha toda essa evolução. E hoje aqui é emoção, gratidão por estarmos num lugar desse.
Realmente aqui é o início de tudo, o início de uma nova era, né? Então isto realmente traz uma satisfação para nós e sabemos que este foi o início e que hoje nos traz não só a insulina como contexto geral, libertando o diabético. A pessoa com diabetes ela está mais liberta hoje do que teve no passado. Nossa filha ficou diabética com 10 anos de idade, então ela está 40 anos convivendo com diabetes. Há 40 anos atrás, realmente não havia nada. Você não tinha diet, você não tinha leite, você não tinha sem açúcar, você não tinha nada. Então os controles, primordialmente, eram feitos pela exceção, exclui tudo. Coisa que hoje a gente já sabe que é diferente. Com a insulina você consegue controlar os espaços e os tempos.
E hoje, graças a Deus, está tudo bem, ela é super independente, mas teve uma fase difícil. Mas a gente se adaptou, né? Isso acho que todo mundo tem que fazer, se adaptar.
This year, Gallery is hosting our latest exhibit, I'm a Fat Boy Now, and is a story of Teddy Ryder, Banting's last surviving original insulin patient. He started off as a healthy baby born in 1916 and develops type 1 diabetes. It's a difficult time for people living with diabetes. The only treatment was known as the Allen starvation diet, and this would be a starvation diet of about 1,000 calories a day. And your life expectancy is about 6 months to 2 years, because while you have this limited diet, you also have these periods of fasting. So we had this wonderful breakthrough in Toronto in the spring of 1922, and it's making all the papers across Canada and starting to filter into the United States. A person in Quebec City, one of our Eastern Provinces reads about this article and he writes a letter to his friend in New York City. And that friend is a doctor, Teddy Ryder's uncle. He telegrams his sister in Connecticut and says, you need to get Teddy here as quickly as you can. So Mrs. Ryder leaves her newborn with her husband, buys 2 train tickets, and she and Teddy take this train ride up to Toronto. He's 6 years old and weighs 27 pounds when this photograph is taken. That evening, Dr. Banting comes over and gives Teddy his first insulin injection. A year later, Banting receives a letter. Dear Dr. Banting, I'm a fat boy now and I feel fine. I can even climb a tree. And with that letter comes this photograph of Teddy 1 year later. He goes from approximately 6 weeks to live and dies 71 years later, all because of that idea that happened in this house on October 31st, 1920.
It's amazing to see the place where it all started. I am very well controlled today. I'm kind of an early adopter of technologies. I do lots of things in the community. But the truth is, I was in complete and total denial for about the first 10 years of diabetes. I did everything to avoid it. All the things that you may have heard of and you may not know of. I came close to death a couple of times. And finally did accept not just the insulin, but the lifestyle, because the advent of new technologies enabled me to have those choices that I felt was required for life.
Around the time of the discovery of insulin, much like today, we're looking for different ways to take it. So Banting and Best actually tried spoonfuls of it, and obviously it didn't work. So in the beginning was the glass syringe that you'd have to boil.
Não existia seringas descartáveis. Então eram seringas que a gente fervia, era uma agulha bem mais grossa.
So we transitioned from the glass syringes to the disposable syringes to the insulin pumps that were introduced in the late 1970s but really don't become popularized until the 1990s. And now we're hearing of these islet cell transplants and different types of pouches and pockets that allow insulin to excrete through them but don't allow the T cells to come in. So it's a really exciting time in insulin delivery. We're currently standing in the most important room in our museum. This is Dr. Banting's bedroom, and it was here on October 31st, 1920, when after a night of restless sleep, he awoke at 2 o'clock and put to paper 25 words that would lead to the discovery of insulin. People from around the world come here to stand in the very room where Banting conceived his idea that led to the discovery of insulin. They come to touch the bed. They come to get photographed with it. And one of the most really fascinating things they do is they will write letters to Dr. Banting expressing their gratitude for the discovery and hope for a cure.
Eu vou traduzir para o português essa carta. Dr. Banting, vir para o local de nascimento da insulina é uma visita muito emocional. Eu me sinto preenchida de gratidão por sua epifania. Sem o seu trabalho incansável, eu não teria a minha filha. Ela é saudável, inteligente e muito musical. Ela também está indo para a área de saúde, para tentar ajudar as outras pessoas. Muito obrigada por salvar a vida da minha linda filha. Eu acho que essa carta não é a carta só de uma mãe, mas de muitas mães e de muitos pais e de muitas famílias. Então, que ela represente a nossa gratidão ao Dr. Banting também. Very special, right? Yeah.
2023 marks the 100th anniversary of Canada's first Nobel Prize, and that Nobel Prize was awarded to Dr. Banting and Professor MacLeod for the discovery of insulin. People think it's actually Banting and Best who win the Nobel Prize, in part because Banting publicly shared his prize money with Best. In fact, he turned down the Nobel Prize when it was first offered to him, and that refusal lasted for a part of a day when he's told he really had no choice. He was the first Canadian to win a Nobel Prize. He was the first person from the University of Toronto to win a Nobel Prize, and at age 31, for a discovery he made at age 29, he was the youngest person to win the Nobel Prize. So Banting agreed and gave half of his prize money away publicly to Dr. Best, who at the time wasn't even a doctor, and Professor MacLeod then gave half his prize money away to Dr. Collop. this is a co-discovery. It doesn't happen if one of these 4 men are not here and involved in the project. But the way the Nobel Prize is structured is you have to be nominated for the Nobel. No one nominated Best, no one nominated Kolb, and so it's actually 2 nominations for Banting, a nomination for MacLeod, and a joint Banting and MacLeod nomination.
Uma alegria imensa de eu estar aqui conhecendo a casa do Dr. Frederic, que salvou tantas vidas, inclusive a da minha filha, e que me deu realmente a alegria de uma vida normal, e com isso tenho um neto muito querido. Ela também se dedicou na profissão dela, ajudando os diabéticos também. A Paula tem muito amor à vida.
É um sentimento de satisfação por ver o passado de alguém que contribuiu muito com a ciência para a evolução do ser humano. Procuramos, ao longo do tempo, aprender para a gente poder superar dificuldades que poderiam advir. Dificuldade de acompanhamento, dificuldade de orientação, dificuldade de antever algum problema mais sério. Nessas incertezas, você procura pontos de apoio. Com isto, você acaba se associando a outros que também têm o mesmo problema. E daí surgiu a ideia de acompanhar uma entidade voltada para o diabetes. A necessidade de você conhecer mais e, depois de um certo tempo, a necessidade de você transmitir para aqueles que não conheciam, porque aquilo que você recebe, você também tem que aprender a distribuir.
The word that I associate the most with insulin is survival. Especially someone with type 1 diabetes, you don't really think about that until your insulin pump runs out and you are far away and you don't have any insulin. And you realize you have hours or maybe minutes to get to insulin and you say, yes, I need this to survive.
Só posso dizer uma palavra: vida.
Continuidade de vida.
Para mim significa vida, para mim significa a minha história. Então eu não tenho nem palavras para dizer a emoção que é estar aqui hoje e poder compartilhar isso com outras pessoas no mundo que vivem essa condição todos os dias. E a gente sabe que não é fácil, mas é possível. E a insulina tornou isso possível para todos nós.